Over? Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Those words, of course, were from the famous movie made by this man over here. And here to introduce our special Hollywood guest, Richardson.
Oregon's business stars are a group of companies that set the pace for their industry. And one such company here in Oregon is Dark Horse Comics, which may be one of our best kept secrets. This evening we want to bring Dark Horse Comics and its founder and CEO, Mike Richardson, out of the shadows. John Landis is a friend and colleague of Mike Richardson's, and he's going to help us present the award, but before he does, let's have him share a few of his thoughts with us.
I am honored to be here for Mike Richardson Day. The film, I don't know if you are aware of how important Dark Horse Comics really is. If you want to get a good, it's not like curing cancer. I must say, I love all these guys up here. As soon as this doctor, I saw his film, I thought, these poor schmucks. What do you do? I have a golf course. What do you do? I make wine. What do you do? I make comics. What do you do? I cure cancer. But I am honored, especially I would like to say something about the Special Olympics, which is, if you have not been to a Special Olympics Games, you should go. My wife and I have gone for many years at UCLA in Los Angeles. It's an unbelievably emotional and rewarding thing to do. So I strongly recommend you support it financially and show up, it's fun. And then the very last thing I'm going to do is tell a story that one of the governors here told me earlier. And you'll have to guess which one, but one of the four governors, I'll say. And he told me that early in his career, he had worked at a pickle factory. At the pickle factory, he met a man named Robert, who was married to a woman named Sadie, and they were an older couple, and Robert had worked at the pickle factory for over 40 years. And one day he came home and he said to Sadie, "Sadie, something's wrong with me." She said, "What's wrong?" He said, "I have a compulsion." And she said, what are you talking about?" And he said, "I have this compulsion. I don't know what to call it, a desire, a need. I have to do this crazy thing." She says, "What?" He says, "It's nuts." She goes, "What?" "At work, I just think I have to put my penis in the pickle slicer." And she says, "What?" He says, "I know, it's crazy, but it's a compulsion." I swear to God, one of these governors told me this. Anyway, his wife says, "You should see a doctor." And he says, I know. Well, every day he talks about this need, this desire. Every day that he talks, "I have to do this, I have to put my penis in the pickle." She says, "Will you shut up? This is nuts." One day he comes home at 11 o'clock in the morning. She says, "What are you doing here?" He says, "I was fired." "You were fired? You've worked there 40 years. He says, "I know, but it was the compulsion." "What are you talking about?" "I had to do it. I did it. I couldn't help myself. I put my penis in the pickle slicer." She says, "Oh my God," and she pulls his pants down. Doctor, she looks at she says, "You're fine. What happened to the pickle slicer?" He said, "I think they're going to fire her too." So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to be here for the Governor's Gold Award and Mike Richardson.
I begged them to let me go before John. I'll still say a few things. I want to thank my friend John, who actually just got back from London filming a movie. I should plug it, Burke and Hare, directed by John Landis, at a theater near you this coming year. And I won't, this probably isn't the right time. He literally got here just a few days ago and came up for this. And aren't you glad that he did? I'm going to talk a little bit about my company because I want to talk about some people that this award belongs to also. 30 years ago, my wife sent me a teddy bear to work with balloons on it and told me I was going to be a father. And so I did what any husband would do. I went in and quit my job. I went home and told my wife to quit hers. We cleaned out our bank account and maxed out our credit card and moved 150 miles away where we knew no one and started a comic book shop. Now you can imagine what my wife said, and you'd probably be wrong. She said, "Let's go." And that's a true story. Now, just to give you an idea of what comics were at that time, today comic creators win Pulitzer Prizes, and they have classes in colleges with fancy names like Comics Lit. But in those days, they were still comic books, and there was a trend in the art that was changing the people who bought comics. And I went down to Bend, Oregon, and at the time, and my friends were concerned. When I bought comics as an adult, again, when I did this, here's how you bought a comic book. You drove to a 7-Eleven at about midnight, you parked across the street, you waited till no one was in the store, and 7-Elevens were the best because you could see in the windows. And when no one was in there, you ran into the store and you put them up to the counter and paid for them as fast as you could and got them into a brown paper bag and made it out to your car, which is a good way to do it, unless you happen to run into Penny Savers on 39th and your old girlfriend was behind the counter. That wasn't so very embarrassing. But anyway, when I did this and quit my job and went down to Bend, some of my friends came down. They were very concerned. One of them's here, my friend Ducloni, we've been friends since we were 4 years old. And they came down, and the wives took my wife out, and my friends took me out, and they tried to talk me out of doing what I was doing and to go get my job back. In some areas, they call that an intervention, but it didn't take. Today, Dark Horse is in 55 countries. Our films are seen all over the world. We're still growing, and as a matter of fact, our announcement in New York yesterday, we've entered the digital world in a big way that's gotten international attention. Any company like Dark Horse, it's not just one person. There's some people here that I'd like to mention. First of all, my wife, who is my partner, and sitting there, and she's the woman who said, "Okay, let's go." We just celebrated our 38th wedding anniversary last week. Also, over at table 21, there's a few other people. There's Randy Stradley, our creative VP, who, when I told him my crazy idea, he said, "Yes, let's go." And he's been with me since the day I started Dark Horse. Several partners over there. Neil Hankerson, who quit his own business. He had a successful restaurant business here in Oregon, chain, and he actually quit to come and be part of Dark Horse. He has probably the worst job at Dark Horse. When David Scrogier, our product development VP, came up from San Diego to start at Dark Horse, he had a painting commission. And the painting showed a scooter going down a hill with me on the front, honking a horn and going, "Wee," and much like the commercial that's out there right now. And Neil on the back trying to put the best he could to put a brake on. And that probably is pretty representative. Neil tells me the financial consequences of my latest great idea. So it's a very important person to have and probably a tough job. So Neil's sitting over there. And also a woman who I can guarantee I wouldn't be here if she hadn't been around, and that's my mom who's sitting over there, Patty. So, anyway, I'd like to say thanks for this award. It's a great honor, and it belongs to not just us, the people here from Dark Horse, but we have an amazing team of creative people who we all work together, and it's great for someone like me to go to work every day and work with people who share the same passion that I have for what we do. Anyway, thank you very much.